Hello, how's it going? I'm James Snell, J.A. Snell on GitHub and Twitter and pretty much everywhere. I'm here to talk about something I didn't think I'd actually talk about at a Microsoft conference, and it's a little open source project a few people use. Node.js. I work for a company called Nearform. They pay me to work on Node full time, every day. I get to have my hands in this code, probably way too much. And I'm here to talk about what Node is doing to support the enterprise. I was going to do a demo, but how many of you have seen JavaScript being written before? Right? You know how Node works then. It's JavaScript. There's a little bit more to it than that, but what I really want to talk about here is the processes that the project has put in place to support the enterprise. So I'm going to get right into it. Talk about this lake, by the way. It's near Fresno, California, where I live. I love this place. This is where I go when I want to get away from Node and everything else. So I go here. There's a lot of things that enterprises need to focus on. There's a lot of abilities, right? Reliability, predictability, maintainability. There's a whole long list of these things. These are the ones that I want to focus on right now. Reliability, predictability, securability, and maintainability. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategic initiatives that we have going on with Node right now. You've all probably seen this little chart over on the side. That's the NPM rolling downloads chart. The growth of NPM in the module ecosystem right now is phenomenal. Based on the numbers, over half of the users of the Node ecosystem have been there for less than a year. It's had something like 10,000% growth in 4 years. So the ecosystem is absolutely massive. Here's another chart which shows the downloads for Node. 2 weeks ago, I released Node 10. I was the release manager for that. We hit 1 million downloads per day. It was 7 TB of data downloaded. That's 2 to the 40th, I think. Hell of a lot of data. Node is everywhere, and it just needs to work. And that's the key thing. Everyone knows how to use it. Everyone is using it. And folks like me that actually work on it have to keep from breaking all of you. And unfortunately, if you do find a bug in Node, it probably was my fault. There's plenty of others that kind of come by after me and make sure that it actually does work. I want to give you a sense of the scope of the project, though. We've had 22,000 commits plus over its lifetime from close to about 2,000 contributors. So far this year, we've had over 1,700 pull requests. 2 weeks ago, that was when I put the slide together, that was 1,500. I did a talk, looked at it last week, looked at it again, and it had grown to 1,600. I was coming here, decided I'd check the numbers again, and it's up to 1,700. And to put that in perspective, projects like React have had about 350 in that same period of time. VS Code has had about, I think a little over between 500 and 600. So the amount of activity that's happening in Node right now is significant. We have 118 individuals with commit access from all over the world. These are students. These are people like me that are paid to work on Node. They're just casual contributors. There's 137 repositories. We have 4 supported major release lines. The week that Node 10 was released, we had 5 for about 5 days. And there's no centralized project management. We don't use anything like the Visual Studio teams, or we have a Slack channel that somebody uses. We have IRC, but we don't have centralized project management. There is a steering committee, but it's just a backstop in case things do not cannot be resolved in the normal way. So all of the activity, think about everything that Node is based on, all of that happens without a roadmap, without any kind of project management, and with a globally distributed team that is out there reviewing 1,700 pull requests over a matter of a few months. Right now, if you look at our repository, we only have maybe about 130 PRs open. So those 1,700 are the ones that are actually being landed and maintained. So there's a tremendous amount of activity in the project. In fact, if you look at it, this shows the GitHub pulse for the project. Right here, 2015 was when IOJS happened. Now, I will say, IOJS was the absolute best thing to ever happen to Node, right? It forked. It forced a lot of thinking about how the project needed to grow. At that point, we have seen the largest period of growth and sustained growth in the project's history. Half of all the commits in the project have happened since that time. So there's a tremendous amount of growth over the past 3 years. So how do we actually make sure that this just keeps working? The answer is really simple. It's CI. We have a Jenkins environment where we have anywhere between 35 to 45 different operating system and architecture combinations that are run, depending on which version of Node is being tested. On each one of those, we have just over 2,200 individual test cases. Every code change is tested. 1 line of code, 100 lines of code, doesn't matter. So at any given time, this thing's run probably about 10, 15 times a day. So we have anywhere between 60,000 to 99,000 individual test runs of Node happening at any given point throughout the day for every code change on an ongoing basis. The infrastructure required to support this is significant. We use Jenkins as the front end, but there is no CI infrastructure right now that has the capability to support all of the architecture combinations that we have. So in one case, we have one of our contributors has a rack of Raspberry Pis set up in his garage that's attached to this. Somebody has a bunch of Macs set up that are set up to support this. We do have Linux VMs. We have a bunch of Microsoft machines. But the infrastructure had to be custom built in order to support this. And it's maintained on an ongoing basis by our build working group. If you have any interest at all in Node and in DevOps, the build working group definitely does a lot of work and can use a lot of help. Not only do we test Node itself, we go through and we test about 100 of the most dependent on modules in the ecosystem. Anytime we want to make any change that is potentially breaking, we will run their test on our CI infrastructure on that branch of Node. So we know in advance if their code is going to break. And then we will go out and either fix things within core to prevent the breakage, or we will go out and open the pull requests in those projects to make sure that they don't break and all of your code doesn't break. Example of this is the buffer constructor. Anybody hear about the buffer constructor issues? We screwed up a few years ago, and we created a version of the buffer constructor that allowed you to allocate uninitialized memory. It ended up being a bit of a security issue because people were creating those and then serializing them out. That was our mistake. We decided to change it by introducing some new APIs. Unfortunately, it's had a massive effect on the ecosystem. One of the developers I work with, his name online is Macintosh, Matthias Booth. He is responsible for, I think, just under 800 of the modules that are published to NPM. Just he himself personally has written. If you use Node code in any way, you are using one of the modules he wrote. This one change to buffers affected just under, I think, about 300 of his modules. And it's impossible for him to go out by himself and maintain those things. So since we made this breaking change, it's our responsibility to actually go out and make sure to make those fixes. So I think I took like 3 days, and I just got through like 50 of his modules. And he still has quite a few more to go through. We take this responsibility very, very seriously. Node just needs to work. And we need to not break your code. And if there's anything with regards to an enterprise requirement within Node, this is it. It just has to keep working. All of your tools, all of your workflows, your code editor, VS Code, it all depends on Node just working and continuing to work. So we'll go through, and this is the number one practice that we follow, and this is all done by volunteers. All of it is done by volunteers. There is maybe myself, I think maybe 3 people that I can count that are actually paid to work on Node full time. Okay. It can't just be reliable. It also has to be predictable. So prior to IOJS, we had, I think, 2 years from Node 0.10 to Node 0.12, and nobody really quite knew when 0.12 was going to come out. And that's part of the reason IOJS existed. As soon as IOJS happened, we started having patch, minor, and major releases on a weekly basis. So things went from moving way too slow to moving way too fast. And it was great for those of us that were actually working on Node because, hey, we were just getting things done and we're pushing it out there. But for businesses that were depending on Node, they'd upgrade one week, go to throw out, test everything the next week, and everything was broken, right? Because it was a major release that just came out. V8 was updated, broke all the native modules, and they'd have to go from there. So the number one thing that we found when we were trying to bring the projects back together were companies like, yeah, we love the development, we love the stuff that's going on, but we actually need releases to be predictable, and they cannot be every week. So we decided to compromise. Patch releases and minor releases, those can come out on a weekly rolling basis. Major releases come out every 6 months. In April, we have the even numbers, 4, 6, 8, 10. We just had 10 2 weeks ago. In October, we have the odd-numbered majors. That 6-month cycle was just part of it. And we also had to introduce a long-term support. Now, I was with IBM for 16 years. The long-term support there was measured in terms of decades. Like, no joke. There was one, I think it was like 30 years for a long-term support contract. That would be insane. We went out and we talked to a bunch of people. I think I talked to about 100 different companies that were using Node. And almost every single one of them came up with this 18-month cycle. And basically what that is they would pick up a new version of Node, do some development, throw it into production, and then at about the 12 to 18-month mark, that's when they're ready to start picking up another version of Node, start another development cycle. So we decided, let's just build the LTS cycle around that. So when we release an even numbered, like 10, we're going to give it 6 months to mature and stabilize. Then in October, we're going to switch it over to LTS. What LTS means is no breaking changes are allowed at all. We can add stuff. We can fix bugs, but we cannot break anything. And we'll keep it that way for 18 months. During that 18 months, we will proactively go out and pull back fixes, pull back feature additions, that kind of thing. And then after that 18th month, we'll switch it into maintenance, which is then we only do the support reactively, if somebody asks us to. If it's critical enough, we'll go ahead and pull it back. But if somebody wants a feature, they're going to have to ask us in order to get it landed there. So you might have seen this chart before on it's been floated around a little bit. This kind of shows the schedule that we're on right now. If you're developing Node applications for business, you want to stay in the blue. Right now, that means you want to be on Node 8. Yes, we released Node 10 2 weeks ago. I would say it's completely premature for you to develop, move over to business applications, right? There are some regressions. There are some things that need to be fixed up. We're looking at finishing the stabilization of that by October. So stay on Node 8. Now, if you notice, there's this period of overlap between the blue. It gives you 6 months to transition from one supported stable version to another stable supported version. And we wanted to make sure that you were able to have support at both ends, right? That you're not going off of one stable onto something that was unstable or vice versa. So we give you that overlap. And if you look at this, the 6, 18, 12, that gives you 36 months, following that 18th month cycle. Okay? So look to start moving to Node 10 in October. Okay? We also follow semantic versioning. Just as a general guideline, it helps make the actual releases predictable in terms of what might break, whether you're getting something new or whether it's just a bug fix, right? That's rather boring. The other thing we had to do was this. What we found were there was a lot of confusion about what parts of Node people could actually rely on. Some bits changed, some bits were locked down. So we had to figure out a better way of classifying these things. So we have experimental. So things like HTTP2 support is experimental right now. What that means is we can break it anytime we want, anytime we need to, right? It's outside of the semantic versioning rules. We have internal APIs, public APIs. It's all JavaScript, so everything's public. So we had to actually delineate what is private and which parts you shouldn't rely on. And we had to go through a better deprecation cycle. And this is something that we are currently refining. The whole point of all this is just to make it so that you can look at a Node release and tell exactly what you're going to get, right? Whether it's going to break your code. 3 years ago, if you were going from one Node release to the other, you had no idea if it was going to break all your code. Today, we are seeing folks that are able to go from 6 to 8 to 10 without any changes to their code, and things just continue to work. So the platform is getting to that point where, yes, it just works, and it's going to continue working. And with things like NAPI, which is a new stability API layer, your native modules won't break anymore when we upgrade V8 or when we switch to Node Chakra Core. All right, we can switch the entire VM back end, and your native modules will still just continue to work without having to recompile those things. So here, I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. We want predictability. This is showing that the LTS is actually giving us predictability. When 4 went LTS, this blue line here shows the downloads for it. As soon as 6 went to LTS, it became the dominant. And as soon as 8 went to LTS, it became the dominant. We went from having a rather bit of a mess before to a much more predictable release cycle and a much more predictable usage for Node. Oh, let me switch. All right, so security is the other important thing here. The platform does need to be secure, and we take this very, very seriously. We have the security at Node.js. We do have a responsible disclosure process. When you send an email to that, there's about 5 of us that get the email. I'm on that team. I work for Nearform. I don't even tell Nearform when this happens. We keep it very, very confidential, and we're really quite strict about this. We have a process for triaging. We have a process for disclosing. Node works as its own CVE authority. And we can do this not only for Node Core, but for the ecosystem at large. So any security vulnerability that's found in any Node module can be reported to us. And we will work with the ecosystem to actually get that triaged and disclosed in a responsible way. We also now have a bug bounty program, which is paying cash rewards for security bugs. So anybody out there who may be interested in that and wants to kind of hack around. I love breaking stuff. I hope you do too. Come help me actually break this. Most importantly, Node has to be maintainable. Yeah, it's fun to write code in, but if you can't actually maintain the code, then it kind of sucks. So we have a number of efforts. This thing's fun. Improving trace events, just getting information out. Node has historically just been a black box. You run code, it breaks, you have no freaking clue what actually happened, right? Callback hell, that kind of thing. We're going through and actively instrumenting Node so we can get this information out through all parts of it, not just the lower levels, through the JavaScript and the C++ and the async tracing, all that kind of stuff. By the time we're done with this, you should have visibility into everything that Node is doing. We have a number of tools for doing automatic analysis, problem determination. Do a run, do a profile, throws an algorithm at the trace output, and it'll tell you what kind of problem you have. Whether it's this one is showing an event loop delay. We'll give you recommendations on what to do next. Interesting new tools coming for visualizing the async call flow. Not quite ready to talk about this one too much yet, but this one's coming. And a number of other strategic initiatives just to keep things moving forward. Improved diagnostics, yes. Improved standard support. HTTP2 it's there. It's improving. It's coming. We have TLS 1.3, new URL parsing. Support for modern JavaScript languages. Modules. Who wants to use ES6 modules in Node? Like pretty much everybody. They're coming. I said that 2 years ago. It's still coming. We'll figure it out. We're getting better promises support. This fourth bullet point is awesome. Multi-process, multi-threading support via workers is coming to Node. It will land this year. So you will have the worker API on the server. Improvement of error handling and messaging. Improvements to data processing with the new Streams API. And better collaboration with the dependencies. One of the other fun things we have now is a mentorship program. We already have thousands of people that are involved in the Node project. What we want to do is build that into mentorship across open source in general, not just within Node. We want to use Node as kind of the starting point. But what we want to do is help people level up in open source and just get used to contributing to open source on an ongoing basis. So we have a mentorship program where those of us with a lot of experience within Node will mentor anyone that comes to us and ask, how do I get involved with open source? So that's something that's happening right now. If you're interested in being a mentor, come talk to me. If you're interested in being a mentee, come talk to me. And that's basically it. The whole point, again, is to keep Node boring and keep it working. You shouldn't have to think about it. It should just be there. So the tools, like all the solutions we've seen here, just continue to work. Come help us. We're always looking for more people. I mean, there's no shortage of work. 1,700 pull requests. We're going to have probably about 200 or 300 more by the time I get back home. So if you want to come help, thank you.